General Eisenhower died today. His death was peaceful and natural. He was 78 years old, and it was the end of a life so filled with accomplishment and achievement and honors that even though it was a long life, it could hardly have held any more.
Dwight D. Eisenhower, sincere and vigorous, a man in any cloth, soldier, educator, or statesman. Architect of victory in Europe. In World War II, he swept the forces of Hitler to total defeat.
You are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
Straight from his European triumphs, Ike comes home. Welcoming him to Washington is Mamie, the wife who waited so patiently for her conquering hero. It's a great day for the Eisenhowers of Abilene, Kansas.
He returned home, and his own people took him to their hearts. In New York, he waved happily as a storm of confetti and ticker tape swirled down around him. He was a man of the hour. A leader in civilian life, as President of Colombia, Ike championed the cause of freedom. Then NATO called him, and in one short year he made allies out of old enemies and helped unify Western Europe. Home again, General Eisenhower engaged in the biggest battle of his career, the battle for the White House, and won an emphatic victory.
You like Ike, I like Ike, everybody likes Ike for president. Hang out the banner, beat the drum, we'll take Ike to Washington, we'll take Ike to Washington.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help you God. So help me God.
Last year, it was widely said, and perhaps accurately, that if he had been a little younger and healthier, and had it been legally possible, he could have been elected president again. Tomorrow, the general's body will be taken to the Washington National Cathedral. There'll be a brief service for the family, and it'll lie in repose there for 24 hours. Sunday afternoon, it'll be moved by hearse from the cathedral toward the Capitol until it reaches the White House, where it'll be transferred to a horse-drawn caisson and will then go to the Capitol to lie in state in the rotunda until Monday. On Monday, back to the cathedral for a funeral service, then to the railroad station for a special train carrying it to Abilene, Kansas, which the general always called home.
Especially do we thank thee for thy servant, Dwight David Eisenhower, whose memory we are here to honor. For the gentleness of his character, the breadth of his sympathies, the power of his convictions, his genius for friendship, his patriotism as a citizen, his high honor as a man, and for his devotion to Christ and his church, we give thee thanks. Mrs. Eisenhower said that although he traveled the world, he always thought of and loved his town of Abilene. Here he spent his boyhood days, and here his character was formed and shaped in the Eisenhower family. Because of his Kansas heritage, it is most fitting that he be laid to rest near his family home. President Nixon quoted the general as saying once, "I come from the heart of America." And so it is to the heart of America General Eisenhower has returned today.
The former president's last words were, "I've always loved my wife, I've always loved my children, I've always loved my grandchildren, and I've always loved my country." That was a good life. That was a good man. The day he rests in his quiet boyhood city of some 6,500 people, in the words of the poet, townsman of a stiller town. But perhaps the greatest tribute of those paid by crowned heads and presidents and premiers were the words spoken spontaneously last night at St. Louis Union Station by the late president's brother, Edgar. He said, "You know what happened to Ike? He did all he could for the country, and he just laid down to rest." This is Walter Cronkite, CBS News, New York.